Yes, it's me. It's me again. Hello. It's Wednesday night, and it's a rare Wednesday night. I did want to try and make these a regular thing, but one thing and things overtook me once I got back to work. But never mind. Here we are again on a Wednesday night. As promised, I promised that I would come back and show you how to paint some figures, particularly him. Because I've actually just realised I haven't opened the box to remind myself where I've got on in the Universal carrier stage, and here we are. Yeah, here we are from last time. Tracks had gone on, bits of armoured carrier have been assembled, and we've got the driving end. That's all done. Yeah, but we're not going to do that tonight. We're going to do some painting. We're going to do some figure painting, and I'm going to show you how to do it in my way, not necessarily the way of the experts or the way that you've seen it on YouTube. I just make it up as I go along, because that's easy and it works for me, and that's why it's going to be quite difficult to show you what I do and talk about it and try and explain things, but we'll work it out as we go along. But the main thing tonight, I haven't got any whiskey because of Baneblade Sunday. If you'd seen Baneblade Sunday when things were getting stuck on upside down, I thought I'd change the brew tonight and have something a bit more quaffing. I thought I'd have a nice session IPA ale. I can't remember the name of it. I think it's Barnstable Ale or something like that. It's an IPA, India Pale Ale. It's a nice session ale, which means that I'll try to show you the colour of it, but I can't. Hang on. No, yes. I try to show you the colour of it. It's a nice amber colour. A session ale is something of a low alcoholic volume, so you can have a good session on it. So that's the reason for tonight. Something nice and refreshing as we go along, and it's a pint because I don't know how long it's gonna go on. But beer, and something else I found when I was searching out the Universal carrier. I found chocolate. Yeah. It's still in date. So if I go quiet, I'm probably munching on a bit of chocolate. So that's what we're going to do. So welcome everybody anyway. Let's see who's in before we get on with the finer points of painting and things like that. Right, let's go right to the top. I did see that I think Fox was the first one in. Yes. First, then followed by Lynn. Candy's in. Hi Candy. Who else? Chris is in from Ghost Models. Hope you enjoyed his stream just before mine and you've all been away and had your tea and had a wee and things like that, because I was going to put my stream on directly after his, but I thought you might want to go for a wee in the meantime and have your tea. So that's what it is. Lane, Gemma. Hi Gemma, how are you? Then I then I remembered I wasn't on live chat, so I flicked it over to live chat and it's telling me, welcome to chat. Welcome, and remember to guard your privacy and abide by the community guidelines. Be nice to each other. Carry on down. Model Making Mayhem's in. Good evening. Yes. Paul Lines. Hi everybody. Hi again. I reckon that a lot of you guys have been following each other around all day. There would be Fox, because I was in Fox's stream earlier, just when I was getting set up, because my computer takes an absolute age to boot up. What else? Then Zanster's come in and Edward's in, Edward Leonard. So let's have a look at what people say in the chat. Yeah, had the music on. Oh, Lynn's gone. Oh well. Bye Lynn, do come back. Is this a long-winded way of said he's going to do the Beyblade instead? Beer. That's model making guru said he likes a nice IPA. Go and get yourself one. Yeah, help yourself. You deserve it. You've been busy all day. Just dipping in before I do the washing up. So that's step beyond hope. I'm in on audio only, but I've got his visor on. Yeah, just in the back. I'm in the background. I'll be chatting away, keeping you informed. You can always look up. Right. Okay. So you do chat amongst yourselves, because as I get building, I do tend to forget to look at the chat. So please, yeah, if you do want me to catch something, I usually sort of try and skim back as far as I can remember when I looked at it last. If you want something, put in bold and I'll try and pick it up. But otherwise, let's get on with painting this guy. Now then, today it's going to be a bit of a juggling sort of juggling with cameras, because I'm not technically minded to have two cameras. I need to I do have another camera, but it's not as good quality as this, so I'm gonna have to try and zoom in and focus so you can see what's happening. But first of all, what do we need when we come to do some figure painting? First of all, we need a figure, him. So that's him, looking a little bit like him on there. Excuse me, I'll just move this glass again. Just move that. Yep, so that looks a little bit like him. As we discussed before, I think originally he would have been holding a cigarette, but he's not holding that now. And yep, so we need him. I can get the box and put that out of the way in a minute. And then we need a selection of brushes, fine brushes, small brushes, narrow brushes. Don't want anything too fine. You don't really need anything like this. This is like, what's this? What size is this one? This is a 20-0. That's really too small. It doesn't hold any paint. And really, I don't use brushes like that very often. I tend to find that if you have a bigger brush with a nice fine tip, this one isn't a big brush. This is a big brush, but this hasn't got a nice fine tip. Bigger brushes hold more paint and they tend not to dry out as much. So we need some brushes. Then we're going to need some paint. For tonight's example, I'll be using the paints that I've used quite a way through modelling. These paints last forever. This is Flesh Paint. This is by Life Colour. They're pretty good. I've used them on, if any of you have seen the photographs on my Facebook page of the 8th Army figure that I've painted, I used it for him. Used these for him. I also used them for the U-boat, all the crew in the U-boat. I've used them for David Sterling, him, and they're pretty good. They're easy. Once you get the grasp of them, they're easy to use. Right, so that's paint. There's a number of paints in here, 6 paints, and all different shades. Brilliant for brilliant for all the tones and shades. Not too. Oh, yeah, paint. Right, next thing we're going to need is a wet palette. Here's one I made earlier. This is all nice and new. Just a bit of baking parchment, and underneath that I've got some kitchen roll, all been soaked. It needs to be emptied out a little bit actually. Just there we go. Just empty that. It's just been nicely soaking just while we've been getting ready tonight. A mixing palette. You can buy the purpose-made ones with lots of, like a round circle with lots of little dimples in it. I've got one around here somewhere, but it's hasn't been cleaned. But I use these because I get drugs each month that I've got to take, and it leaves me with bags of these. So yeah, might as well use them. Brilliant for mixing paint. And it's just some water to clean out. And for tonight's episode, and to speed things along, to be expeditious, is that a word? I've got the wife's hairdryer. Shh, don't tell her, but I've got the hairdryer. Just speed things up a little bit. Right, so that's it. Chat amongst yourselves while I go and get some painting done. What we're going to use first, he has been, what we're going to say, primed. Yes, he's been primed. I use either a black or a grey primer. I sometimes find if the bigger the figure, the black primer will give you a better sort of base coat, because when we come to apply these flesh tones, we'll put them on like in a wash. Now then, I'm going to try and zoom this camera in so that you could see what's going on. And the first colour that we're going to use, we'll use the base. We'll use a dark base. We'll use that one. The live colour, flesh base. These are numbered 1, 2 and 3, so you can use the lights and the shadows. Shadows, one shadow, one base. In fact, I think, yeah, because this guy's only 1/35 scale, you don't have to be too accurate, and I certainly won't be going and trying to do eyelashes, eyeballs and things like that. So we'll get one of these out. I think it was that one I chose. Yeah, do that one, flesh base. Now hopefully it hasn't dried out, because I've had these absolute age. Just give it a bit of a stir. We don't need to use too much of this, and I think we're going to have just enough in here just to do this, the 3 figures in this kit, because for what's sake it lasts ages, but we're getting towards the end of it now. So that we'll put some in our paint tray, and then I'm going to try and zoom this in. Right, bear with me a minute while I find where this has gone. Camera control, zoom. We're going in further. Zoom again. No, seems to be about it. Right. So then we need to focus him now. What out focus have we got? There we are. Right, if I hold him there, I've got to look around the camera, so do forgive me if I go wrong. Right, wet palette, because we don't want to apply too much to this guy. So, onto the wet palette. A wet palette will help you blend colours as we come along further on into the painting. The wet palette will help you to blend the colours, and it'll keep any blended colours that you've made workable for longer. So now we just slap it on. All over, cover everything, and don't worry about going over to his uniform or anything like that. No need to keep it neat, just give it a nice slap it on. Right, I'm doing my best to try and keep it in focus for you. All around, don't worry about his hair and his eyebrows or anything like that yet. Then we could do his hands as well. don't try and get it on in one thick coat. As somebody once said, 2 thin coats. I believe that's the term. Yeah. Just looking at this, it may have been a little bit too light, but we'll work with it. Right, wash my brush, because I always fit. That's why I always have a load of paint brushes, because I put them down and forget where they are, and then when I come back to them the paint's dried, so I've got to go about cleaning them up. Yes, it could have a hip flask. I've got some bits and pieces from another kit. I've got a canteen. It could have a canteen full of gin. Right, let's apply the hairdryer. Excuse the noise a moment. Sorry about that. Festus in. Good evening, Colin. How are you? Doing some figure painting tonight. Hope you're well, matey. Yeah, this isn't quite like the painting of the Bane blades. Once the paint's dried as well, you can often see where you've missed, but don't worry, because you'll see here we've missed lots of places, but that's just to get the base coat down. Now what I'm going to do now, before I go any further, I'm going to paint his eyes in. I did say that I don't do eyeballs, and I'm not going to do eyeballs, but we'll just choose a pair. Where is it? Yep. We'll just do a little bit of white. Sometimes white can be a little bit too stark, but for this, for the small amount we need, can you see I know it's out of focus down here, but he's not, hopefully. Oh. Oops, slightly more than we need. Right, back to it. Here we go. Paint his eyes in. I know that people do try to, or you can actually paint the eyeballs, and some people do, and I've done it. But when you look at, yeah, look at him there, it's like Coco the Clown, isn't he? But never mind, we'll work on that. When you look at somebody, this guy is going to be 35 times his height away from you, so that's going to be at the end. If you hold your arm out in there, see how it goes into focus, out of focus when you're all the way back there. It's a bit like I use them. You're never going to see somebody's eyeballs at 35 times the height away. I think that's the formula, isn't it? Right, so what we're going to do now, we've done the basic, so we've laid down a colour, a base colour, and when I find the lid I can put the lid back on. Well, that chocolate's really looking, it's looking inviting. There we go. Fetch him up there. Model Making Trucker says I'm holding the brush in the wrong hand. No, it's the right hand, because they say that talented people are left-handed. Right, now we can go in the shadows. We'll paint some shadows in. This one looks a little bit brown, but don't worry, it'll all work out. these live colours, I do like them. They're really a nice fine pigmented paint, and they're good for getting these detailed colours in, because once you start and paint miniatures, painting figures, you need something with a fine pigment, because otherwise you'll try to paint a face with some basic acrylic paints, and you'll find a big blob of pigment on his nose. So what we're going to do now, we're just going to pick out some of the shadows. So we're looking, we can see his face, and we can hear the cat meowing as well, Ted's cat. So we can see his cheeks, we can see the cheek lines, and we can pick up the shadows in his face, because these would be the darker. What we've got to do, you've got to imagine that the daylight, the sunlight is shining on him, and it will pick him up and put him into shadow. And also on his fingers, we could do his fingers as well, don't worry. As I say, this is my way of doing things, not necessarily others. Oh, that cat, can we hear the cat? Right, hopefully the cat will shut up in a minute. And now we've gone over his eyes. See, the cat made me jump, so not to worry, just go back and do it again. Hair dry it. There, now he's looking even more like Coco the Clown now. So we'll just touch your eyeball in again. Yeah, we can, if do catch it. See how it's, see what it's easier to do this than try to explain what we're doing. You see how the shadows are taking shape now. We can almost see a shadow in it before we touch him up. Ooh, misses. Right, we'll go back to the base colour that we've done before. And now when this is where the wet palette comes in, because we want to do a nice thin wash on this guy. This will pick up the bits what we missed before. A bit much on the brush, so we can just take it off. I don't have my visor on for this, I can't quite see it. If you get, when you can really thin these paints down. Use your wet palette, thin the paint down, and you can, it may not be till about the third or even the fourth coat that you can see the colour of the skin starting to appear. And of course, oops, it'd be better if you could actually see them being painted. What size brush is it? This is a 3-0. As I said, it's something that you can use that's got a nice, it's got a bit of a belly to it. The brush is fairly long, but it comes down to a fine tip. And what you can do when you use the brush is put the paint on and then drag and twist. Just drag and twist it over your palette. That puts a tip on the brush and takes the, takes the excess paint off. Now, I'm not entirely happy with him yet. I think what we'll do, we'll go back and do some more shadows. This is where we can blend the two colours together down here in the paint palette. Just drag them over and it will start to, it will blend them, and then that colour now is slightly darker than that colour, so we could go back and again work on the shadows. I know this guy's smiling, and I wouldn't attempt, certainly in this scale, I wouldn't attempt to do his teeth, because he would look like something out of a denture advert. Steve 131, do I have a favourite brand? I don't have a favourite brand of brush. I tend to pick them up as I see them and need them. One or two of the brushes that I do have are the where are they at? I've got some model painter brushes. I found these at Telford. Found these at the model show at Telford, and I also have a series, one or two of these Citadel brushes. I don't do, apart from the Baneblade, do Warhammer, but I do find that the brushes are pretty good. I think Fox might be able to tell us whether they do various grades of brush. I know they do various styles, such as, I think over here, yeah, I've got a large brush, and I think as well as, yeah, there's dry brush as well, and they all come with different tips on, so once you're knowledgeable about different colours, you can just pick them up without having to search through your paint rack. But I think there's some like beginner grade brushes and some higher grade brushes. I'm not too sure. We've lost his eyes. Chatting, I've lost his eyes. Citadel wash brush, yeah, that's going back a few years, says Fox. Yeah, well, you know what I am, I won't spend any money unless I have to. Don't they do wash brushes anymore? Just cleaning my brush off. Let's try and keep his eyes in this time. There we go. Coco the Clown again. Looks a bit scary like that. Let's have a look in chat. What you guys say to me. Any questions you've got? Any questions you've got, do ask. Do ask while a chance of... while I'm looking at the chat, because yeah, because yeah, because I lose where I'm at. Yeah, model making guru was surprised by the cat. Yeah, model making cat. You've asked model making chicken. Long time since we've had you try and hold a cat on camera for a while. Candice congratulated Lewis for the job on his tank that he's doing in the truck. Yep, it's ideal. A nice little kit. Take something away on holiday with you. I'll just continue sort of trying to brush this. Oh, let's see. Get out of focus. Pot lines. What are the best brands for flesh tones? Well, as I said at the start, I use this one by Life Colour. I've got a few kits of Life Colour paint. I know that Vallejo do one as well. They do a kit and it comes with painting instructions as well. So if you want to find out how to do it, that's quite a good start. Anybody else out there, can they recommend any? I just recommend this one because that's one I've used and one I've been happy and got to work with. Right, we'll change the brush, we'll go back and we'll try and put some of the flesh shadows in. Do a darker one. Right, change the focus again so you can see. I must try and get two cameras. I don't want to put it onto autofocus because it would jump all the time. Another area to put the shadow is around his berry. Looks, must admit it does look quite a bit of a mess when it's on camera and close up. Let's dry this off. Right, what we're going to do now is lighten up the skin. So we'll use a lighter base and just mix it in. So we're mixing the shades in. Yeah, I wish I'd never started this now, but no, here we go. I'm trying to paint looking at the screen because I can't get my head around the camera. I try to judge what he looks like by putting him up to the screen. He's getting there. He's getting there. Back to the which one was it? Wasn't that one? Wasn't that one? Must have been that one. Back to the flashlight. Was it that one? That's, yes, this is a better colour. This is the flashlight number 1. Take a bit of paint off on the thumbnail. What we're going to do this time is just wash. As I say, don't forget there's a shadow. There will be a tiny shadow or a darkened line just where is the beret and uniform meet. Don't forget, we forget his hands. Now these Tamiya figures are nice figures, but they're not the sharpest. Yeah, how does he look? It's getting there. It looks a bit untidy because we haven't done the work around his coat, his jacket, or his blouse, whatever you want to call them. Looks a little bit ill, but we'll soon brighten him up. Speedy Q's in. Good evening. Right. Hairdryer. Once the paint dries a little bit, it changes colour again. So what we need to do is still work on the shadows a little bit, not too much now. So we can try and put a little bit of definition just in his face. I think I've painted over his eye again. Never mind. Oh. Because your paint's so watery, it's easy enough just to bit of a cotton bud and wipe it off. Wrong brush. See, I've done it again. Wrong brush. Now, even though there's just a few colours in your wet palette, there is a number of different shades in there now that we can still use. We could just drag one into the other and sort of start and blend. Like this colour here, we can fetch it up and just drag it in there, and that will give you a varying amount of colours. So it's all about blending and washing. So I can work around the front of his face, the sort of cheeks and under his nose, just trying to bring those shadows out a bit more. Brush, dry him, excuse me. And as you can see, once we get the hairdryer on, and once the paint dries, it sort of sucks the paint down. I can change the tone of his skin each time with each layer. Again. How's he look? Looks a little bit darker. Not to worry, here we go again. Yeah, I keep trying to get it into the camera, but there we are. We're just, once given that dark coat, it seems to have brought it back now. Let's dry him off. It's a hairdryer. Yes, it's just a hairdryer. I think what we'll do, if we're trying to pick out now some of the highlights, we might change the look of him altogether. I'm not entirely happy with this, but never mind. This is all live. These are the bits that you don't see when we're painting on a camera. So we can. But I think we need to pink him up a little bit, just a little bit more pink. That one. Yeah, the reason I'm using the hairdryer today is, as Fox has just said in chat, it's just to quickly dry the paint. Otherwise I'll give it a coat of paint, then I'll have to sit and talk at you for an hour before I put the next coat on. Yeah. Either it's me or this guy is looking a bit anemic. What do you think? Got a tin of paint. Yes, there it is. I thought I had another shade. Want to make a truck us all off. Just thanks for dropping in. Come back and see you next time. I hope to do another one of these in the very near future. I've got to tie them in sort of around work now, so I can't get them as regular as I would like to. But if you do subscribe to the channel, you'll get an update. First of all, if you do it on YouTube, if you like and subscribe, you'll get an update if you tick the notification bell of when I've got an upcoming stream. And also, if you follow me on Facebook, I usually try and announce on there what's happening. Right, that's all. Excuse me, a rapid drying again is called for. What do you think? I think once we get the rest, it looks a bit odd because the sort of splashes and things around. But once we get the uniform painted, he will start to look a little bit better. Do I have any Reichland flesh shade? No. No, I don't. I think that's a Citadel colour. I don't have any of them, sorry. I do think he does need a wash though, doesn't he? A filter. I do have some shades somewhere. God knows where they are. Tell you what I do need though. I need to move this glass. I think it just needs a little bit of tone, just yeah, I think it just needs just a little bit of a tone, just to pick up some of the shadows. What I'm trying to do is use some of the live colour. It's really making it difficult because this isn't the best they're not the best mouldings. Let's try that, see how it looks last time, otherwise we'll there. A bit later. Yep, just give them a wash. As Fox said, a flesh tone type wash. A flesh shade wash. I've actually used a very watered down flesh shadow. Almost just using the carrier off the top of the acrylic paint. Yeah, I could see numerous things that could go in this figure's hand. Yeah, as I said, I think it was originally a cigarette or a pipe or something like that. But then everybody came quite afraid of encouraging children to smoke, so they chopped off the cigarette in the moulding. I just left him stood holding whatever. So he hasn't even got an ear. The last figures that I did from Tamiya were some Masterbox figures. They include Masterbox in the desert, long range desert group truck. Do you know the one where they're digging the they have a few figures, looks like they're digging the digging the sand, digging the truck out the sand, that one. There, he's not looking too bad. If you hold him at arm's length, and squint a little bit, yeah, it's not too bad. So that's that one done. Right, let's have a look at chat, and we'll have a look. We'll leave the flesh tones there, and we'll give him a coat of uniform, a uniform coat. In a moment, let's have a look at chat. Let's bring us back into focus. There we go. Right. Yeah, Butch, that model says it was a fag. Yeah, it probably was. But we can't encourage our young children to smoke these days. So, the John Player special race cars and things like that aren't. They're just black cars. Lord Barkley said it a mug of tea. Yeah, it could have a mug of tea. I do have some bits, as I say, you're in your sprue, in my sprue box somewhere. I'll probably have a load of spare parts. Somebody suggested a donut. That would be a good idea. Did they have donuts in the Second World War? Glazed donuts. Right, going back up to the chat, Fox says, I thought I'd got some from a hydro tank thingy. I do have some. Hang on, I'm just standing up here. I do have some somewhere. I just can't lay my hands on them at the moment. Just having a look without knocking things off. No, I do have a selection of Citadel paints somewhere. Not very many of them, but I do have some, and I'll find them out for next time. Butcher. Dave says his long range desert group already had the 3 figures. I'd got the posh one with the extra figures. Yeah, I had the guy that was pointing and looking at a map with the sort of Arabian turban type thing on his head, the tea towel on his head. I had that one. That was quite nice. It was quite a nice kit. If you do get a kit, if you're doing the long range desert group, or if you can buy Masterbox figures, if you want to add to your diorama, buy the Masterbox figures. They're brilliant. And they're not that expensive either. Right, let's have a look now. We need some English uniform. Here we are. Vallejo. Quite a nice colour, this. I've used it on a couple of other figures. Excuse me. But this is generally a real good colour for English uniform. Right, let's zoom it in, or change the focus anyway. No, it's too close. Let's get a bit of position. There we go. So we have Vallejo English uniform. It does what it says on the tin. Nice wide brush. Just work it out on your wet palette and splash it on. Don't worry about the belt or his boots or puttees or anything else. Just one nice relatively thin coat. Got too much on there, so we can take some off the brush and spread it about a bit. Once again, we didn't worry before about when we were painting the skin that we were going to get skin colours on his uniform. The reverse applies. Now that we're painting his uniform, if you get brown, khaki, or if you get the paint on his skin, yeah, another coat over it. This Vallejo, it does cover fairly well, but one thing about it is when you painted it, try not to handle your figures too much because it's not very hard wearing. It will rub off. It goes on nice and smooth and it does flatten out quite well. Excuse me, bit of a clear my throat. I just need to move this glass a bit. Now we can hear people shouting the cat downstairs. Oh, off camera, there we go, back in. Just cut, just take your time, cut in nicely. Now it does look, it goes on and it looks a bit flat because it's all sort of monotone. But we'll add some highlights and lowlights and shadows, and by the time we've painted his webbing, it's got a small amount of webbing on. It's not fully kitted up. He's got the belt and braces, I suppose you could call them. Does anybody know the technical name for these cross bits? I guess the rest of his kit would be in the Universal carrier. Right, so that's the first coat on. Just a bit to touch up. So we'll get him dried off with the hairdryer and then we'll be back. that a good colour for a uniform? Looks brilliant. I think it's a really good colour, and as I say, once it's dried, it sort of sucks itself in, and you get the detail. So all I'm doing now, once it's dried, is just touching up the places where it needs it again. And we can see now he's getting some colour into his uniform. It's sort of making the face and that pop a little bit. It looks a little bit more realistic. There. Right, now the next stage is a little bit of a wash. Clean my brush, move the chat down because it's get away with me. Paul Lyons says he thinks that part of the webbing is a yoke. Now you mention it, I think that's right. It's this crossover bit here that looks like braces, crosses over at the back. Is Ted still working on a minute? Yep. There he is. Right, this one is, if I can find it, it's in here somewhere. There, it's over here. That bit, I'm going to try this. A little bit of Tamiya smoke. Now this will work a little bit like the Newlin oil or whatever it is that they use in Warhammer. It should just give it a wash over, and it should go into all the crevices. Not really changing anything of the colour, but just darkening down the folds in the cloth. Because after this what we could do is pick up the highlights by using the same colour, because this smoke has darkened it ever so slightly. It doesn't change the colour, just darkens it. We can use the same colour just to bring out those highlights again, and giving some 3D depth to the figure. Yeah, looks a little bit shiny, but the shine won't be there, because if it is there at the end, we'll just give him a blast over with some matte coat, a clear coat. I can't stand one of the things that really gets my goat is when I see pictures of somebody's figure that they painted and they're shiny. Please, if you're taking pictures of your models, don't use a flash. Please don't use a flash, because it makes figures look shiny, and are humans shiny? There, now then, because we've done that, I'm not sure if we can actually dry this off with a hairdryer. I don't think Tamiya does too well with a hairdryer, so we'll just let this dry naturally. The shiny figure. Speedy Q says Bob Buncast was shiny. He was also chocolate brown. I need to find somewhere to stand him up. Let's change this. Let's change that again. And there we go. Need some of this just to clean the brush. Lynn says it does look like Tony Robinson. Yeah, maybe. Hang on, let's get the focus right. Oh, the focus is all the way down here now. Edward says I'm slapping it on. Yeah, I've slapped it on. It hasn't worked out quite as well as I expected, but it's getting there. I think it's because I've been trying to do it on camera and look around. It's out of focus. Let's change the focus back a little bit. It now looks like one of those Britain's toys, doesn't it, where it's shiny, that the household cavalry shiny. But yeah, I did use smoke. Other filters are available. I just thought smoke would perhaps work for this type of colour. It wouldn't work as all colours, but I must have a look around for those Citadel colours for when I come to paint the dudes on Baneblade Sunday, because I've got some dudes to paint. Right, so yeah, we've got 10 minutes to go yet. So what's everybody else been doing tonight? Has it just been a night of or a day of sat around watching everybody else do some work, or have you in fact had time to sit at the model bench and do a little bit yourself? I came up this afternoon just to set up. While I was here, I did a small bit of painting, just a mojo breaker. I've nearly got that project sort of finished. Can't tell you any more about it, as I said last night. I can't tell you any more about it, but when it's done I'll post some pictures. Now that I need to paint his berry. Yeah, the box art shows his berry as sort of a Highland type. So I think I'll go with the colour. I'll get the paint out again later and go uniform. Do the English uniform on it. Do that later. Right. What's everybody else been going on with then? Yeah, I'll take note of those colours, Fox, and I'll get some eventually. Bottle making mayhem since been a day of just sitting around doing now. Been tired a lot recently. Yeah, it sort of catches up on you. And now that we all appear to be creeping back into a lockdown, it's certainly not doing the mental health of anybody any good. It just becomes grating and hard work, but yeah, hopefully we'll get through it soon. Dave said he's had a day off, finished all the decals on his Spitfire, played World of Warcraft, and now painting. He's now painting them things. Back to work for me tomorrow. Not that I mind going to work. It's one of those jobs that actually I don't mind going to. Yeah, I don't mind getting out of bed in the morning, even when it's chucking it down. And at the moment, when I go to work, it's dark. But day soon brightens up, and the views of the edge of Windermere are fantastic. Just try and adjust that focus again. It's in and out of focus this week. What I'll try and do for next time, I'll have a word with the other technical guys and see if I can set up 2 cameras. Might make things easier than zooming in and out and focusing all the time. Paul says he's been working on HMS Ark Royal, or as I call it, a Ham Ark Royal. Yep. Is that the Invincible class Ark Royal? I think we did discuss this in one of the streams, didn't we? Whether it was the old Ark Royal or the new Ark Royal. Just catching up. So I just got a message there, not important. Yeah, Dave said I've got the best office in the world. I certainly have, and you can get outside and feel the world. Paul said it's the World War II version. Ah, yes. Didn't that come to grief? Wasn't Ark Royal sunk in the Second World War? I can't remember. One of them was. Never mind. Dad said it's fun making washes with ink and 2 times more shine. Yes, that's another way that you could do washes. This guy looks tiny down here, doesn't he? And when he's up there, he's out of focus, but never mind. Yeah, that's another way you could do it. Do some oil washes. that could be a way. I never thought of that. I could have done an oil wash on that, but then again that would have taken as long to dry as well. Paul says yes, the Ark Royal was sunk in World War II. Thank you for confirming that. Right, where were we on the carrier, by the way? Just got 10 minutes to kill. Might as well have a look back in the box. We'll leave him there to dry. We'll have a look back in the box and see if I can catch up on where I was. Now I know that Dave said that if I'm putting the driver in this, he needs to go in before this bit goes on. I don't think I'm putting the driver in it. They could all be having a break. The vehicle itself can be empty, so I do have one or two of the figures. I've got these. These will go pretty well with this kit, so I've got a few of them, so I can use these to sort of make it look like the crew are doing something. So where were we? Right, I've got them bits stuck on, I've got that stuck on, I've done that. I've done that. So right. So we could do a bit of gluing tonight. Now because these bits have already been sprayed, I do like just find the right bit. What I do like to do is just take the paint off. I know that Tamiya the extra thin will take the paint off. It will bite through the paint and take it off, but I just like to take a bit of paint off. Right, let's glue a bit before we go for the evening. Let's do this as well. So you can see what's happening. All we're doing here is gluing the frontal armour, the front armour. Then you can't come along and say Ted did a whole stream and he didn't do anything. Oops. Oh, that brought that off. Never mind. Two fire extinguishers. I take it that's what they are. Yep, it's the frontal armour. So holding these together, holding the front llama on, this is going to be a nice little subject just in itself, just to build it just for the weathering. There was thousands of these things built according to the blurb in the box. There were thousands, and on Google, there were thousands of these things built, used in all theatres of the war, and in fact, some of them were actually captured and used by the other side. So it would never be wrong to paint them in German colours. And I'm sure we use their stuff as well. Well, in fact, I know we did. Yeah, that would then glue in there like that, and we're looking fairly much like the vehicle itself is getting complete. Let's check that. There's no, just got to go by the angle of this front llama that you're getting on in the right place. There doesn't appear to be a locating tab for it, but we'll line that up and we'll glue it on. Cool. Right. Right, I've been here for an hour and a half talking at you, and I think it's time to go and sort that cat out and get ready for bed because it's work in the morning. I've still a little bit, I have to move this glass again. Right. I know it's a bit of a short notice stream tonight, and probably the next one that I do will be short notice again, so it may not be regular. There may be another one next week, there may not be, depends how things fall for me. But as I say, do like and subscribe, then click the notification bell and you'll get to know when there's a next video coming up. But I'm going to go and leave it for now. Yeah, thanks for coming along and having a look at me butcher this model. See what I did there. It hasn't worked out quite as I expected, but we got there. We did a little bit of painting. If I had a little bit more time and I could see around the camera, it'd be a little bit better than that, but you get the idea anyway. You get the idea of using the paints, using the shades to give shadows and highlights. But 1/35th scale figures, yeah, they don't really need that much detail. I think a lot of people put a lot more work into them than sometimes you could really be necessary. Save that for your bigger figures. But enjoy it, have a go and enjoy it. Yeah, that kit does produce better results than this, but in the meantime I'll leave you with it. Go and have a go yourself and send me some pictures of what you did. Yeah, it's never wrong. But we'll have a go at him. Might try again next week and have another go at him and do some more detailing on him. We'll see how it goes. But thanks for joining us. Come back and see us again. I'll be here on Monday. But Chris on Sunday with his Baneblade. I'll be back on Monday. Then after that, who knows when he'll see me again. But soon. Have a great time. Thanks for joining us. So from who did we say it was? Tony Robinson and I. Good night, everyone. Good night. Thanks for joining. Bye. Bye.